Before we get started today, I just wanted to mention, if you haven't checked it out, PCBWay.com. PCBWay offers a number of services. One in particular applies to what we're doing, 3D printing. They have a great layout on their website that you can check out here and kind of go through the motions of uploading an STL or whatever your file may be, sending that off for a quote. They offer you a number of different options in terms of filament types, and you can select your infill density and kind of really dial in whatever you want. Today on the Printosaurus, we're going over some filament. I'm looking for a new PETG, a PETG product to use. Bamboo, when I went on to order some new filament, they're out of stock. And I noticed that they are discontinuing their PETG. I'm not sure if that's going to be an indefinite type thing or if they're reformulating or what. I think it is a little odd to just kind of drop that one. Atomic filament, California filament, Bamboo Lab, and Voxel. All are going to go head to head on who has the best PETG. First thing is first, I threw all 4 rolls in my Sunlu S4 dryer. I'm gonna let them dry for the recommended time, and then we will start with using one of the X1 carbons. I'm gonna use the same printer for all prints so that there isn't any differences between machines and whatnot there. Now, something to pay attention to, this one I have the standard AMS unit on top, and then I have a modified AMS Hydra Pro on the bottom. So some of these filaments that I found, their rolls don't fit the standard AMS. So that's going to be something you're going to have to keep in mind as we move forward with this review. The atomic filament spool is too wide for the standard AMS, so we're going to have to use a Pro or the external mount to run that filament. So I've done a number of test prints while figuring out which PETG that I like best. So I'm going to run through those now. I'm going to start with the Voxel. So I printed a print in place wrench. What I like about this is in terms of temperature and adhesion and all that good stuff, I like to see how well this kind of turned out. And this one turned out pretty good. It's got a little bit of give to it, a little bit of flex, which is nice. Overall, a great print. California filament, very, very similar. This one is not quite as stiff as the Voxel, has a little more movement to it, but overall, very, very clean. This one printed at a low temperature, 230 degrees Celsius. I was able to print this at, and it really did help with the print and everything just coming out real nice, real crisp. No issues with this one at all. I did have some adhesion issues initially. Some bed temperature changes, fixed that with the Voxel. Obviously we have our Bamboo, which is more of a reference, just a comparison. We're not going to use this. This actually will end up being last place because it is discontinued, but same deal. Very similar. So the atomic filament, what I noticed right off the bat was this one was a little bit stiffer. This one took a higher temperature and a higher bed plate temperature as well. And overall, the quality is pretty good. There was a little bit of stringing. I did let all these dry, as you saw earlier. Yeah, I had to play with this one a little bit more than the others, but once I got it dialed in, honestly, all 4 of these are very, very close. These Bamboo printers, they really make it hard to really separate filament. They just handle everything so well. So with a little bit of tweaking, this one did pretty good. So I'm working on another video that you will see in the next couple days on the new Python by HumeBeam. And one of those is the gears for the spools. And I figured why not go ahead and start testing with this filament, the PETG, to see how it printed. So the one that performed the worst for printing this is a 4-hour print, is unfortunately the atomic filament. There was a lot of stringing, a lot of layer issues along the way, and I think you could look past some of the aesthetics here in the middle, but the gears themselves have some areas that really have some chunks missing and some deformation as it was printing. So we're going to go back and test some more with this, but I would put this in that category of probably not high in terms of ranking compared to the others, at least for the gear. The best one was the Voxel. This one turned out fantastic. I didn't have to do any tuning or anything with the slicer other than their recommended settings there. And you know, all these gears are very crisp. This is definitely usable. There was a little bit of stringing here in the middle, but that's more of a cleanup in this case, and everything looks great. Another high performer that doesn't count, unfortunately, is the Bamboo. This one printed fine, no issues whatsoever using the standard preset in the slicer. So overall, you know, good quality there. And this one, I would say a second place would be the California Filament. Really didn't have too many issues with this one. There is just a small spot where it looked like some layer adhesion with these gears. I believe this one was up to 85 degrees Celsius to get it to really stick and not try and warp or anything like that. So I know everyone does a benchy, and I know everyone at this point probably doesn't like a benchy. So I printed a benchy, but I printed a aircraft carrier benchy that I found, which was kind of cool. So what's cool about this is you get a little detail from the planes, and there's a little small overhangs there, and then you still have the standard benchy elements as well. So this is the Bamboo. As you saw, it printed really good for the gear and the wrench. And this one, we had a little bit of issues with the overhangs. There's a little bit of stringing. There's some artifacts in the layers. So this one, quality-wise, didn't come out as well as some of the others. Next up is our Voxel. This one overall did pretty good. There's just a couple of small artifacts in the overhang area on one side. The other side, at that same layer, came out fine. So interesting to see that. But overall, good quality. California Filament. So I probably should have cleaned this a little more, or purged it out a little more. But we ended up having a little bit of that Bamboo filament kind of blended in here. Just a little bit of it stuck to it. But overall, this one did pretty well. A little bit lower on the overhang. We had a couple of issues. So the Voxel had an issue further up. This one didn't. It actually looks really good further up, but lower on our layers we had an issue. The deck itself is really flat. It's very clean. No extrusion issues, it looks like. And then this one was printed at 230 degrees Celsius, which was the lowest of all of them. And then last on our list is our atomic filament. Now this one, for this test overall, was the best. So this one finished number one. The deck is very smooth. There's no issues on the hull. Everything looks great. So let's talk about color options. Obviously, Bamboo has a number of great color options. That's one of the reasons why they're very appealing. Voxel really doesn't have many PETG color options. They have a black, they have blue, they have a gray and a translucent. There's really not much outside of that. Hands down, by far, the biggest color option would have to go to California Filament, so we'll go ahead and put them in first place. PETG is the only thing that they do, and they have a lot of color options. So check them out for that. Second place, I would put the Atomic Filament. They have a number of great options. They have some pretty interesting colors that are, kind of stand out above the other ones. So check them out for that as well. So who did we decide was number one? California Filament. One of the main reasons why I picked California Filament, well, really two reasons. Their color options. They have far more color options than any of these other ones, and how easy it was to print. The lower temperature made things really easy to work with, and overall, I didn't have a single issue with adhesion or anything with that one. So that would be my number one. My number two for this test would be Atomic Filament. They also have a lot of very unique color options. They're reasonably priced, and their customer service is excellent. Number three is Voxel. It printed extremely well. It is a very, very good filament. but what really hit them was the color options. They don't have as many options as these other companies, and I think that is hurting them in the long run for a PETG replacement. And then last on our list is our previous number one, the Bamboo Lab PETG. It's discontinued, so as always, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment. I'd love to hear from you. If you have any PETG filaments that you like, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you're printing with, what works well for you, and you know, what kind of color options they might have.